What's going on, guys? So a little more updates on the FA5 or FD2, whatever you want to call it. Right now, I'm going to be pulling out the fuel cage, and we're going to be upgrading the fuel system. That way I can properly have ethanol running through the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to take out the fuel pump, modify the hanger or the cage. That way you can put your new fuel pump in, and also provisions for running ptfe fuel lines. So let's get right into it. So I've already started taking out the seats. They're pretty straightforward. You just fold the seats down, and then you'll see there's the bracket right here. It's just a 12 millimeter. You take this one off here, come to the other side. There's going to be another bracket here for the other side, 12 here. And then at that point, you just take this guy off. There's this bracket here that sits on the inside. You'll have two 12s there. So 3 12s for the passenger side. Once you take that off, you'll have this long bolt that sits in here, which holds the driver's side seat there. And then at that point, you'll just be able to push this out of this hole and then pull it back out. Once you have that apart, you're gonna run into this cover right here. And all it is just 4 12s right there. Get that out of the way. And then you got your fuel pump cover for Phillips. We'll go ahead and get that guy out, and then I'll show you after that. Alrighty, so now we got the cover off. Went ahead and unplugged the fuel pump here. It's also like the sending unit and all that jazz. So went ahead and unplugged that. So this is the feed right here, and this is an evap. We'll go ahead, get this guy unhooked. I'm not sure how to unhook this yet. I will figure it out, but I know this guy, you just, these two gray tabs here, push in, and then this guy should slide off if I can get it. Come on. It's almost there. There we go. A little bit of fuel, just be careful. And then after you get that guy off, you get this guy off. And you're gonna have to buy either a big old socket for these fuel pump rings, or you can take like a flathead and hammer and go to town. I'll probably use the flathead and hammer. Alrighty, so I figured out how to take this evap hose off. There's, kind of hard to see, but there's these squares on each side. So you're gonna be upside down for a second. There's 2 squares, you just squeeze the ends. And it should release. You just wiggle it off, move it aside wherever way you can. Back here. Now you have the ring exposed, and we'll go ahead and get this guy off. Alright, so I got this guy loose. Go ahead and take it all the way off. Just move that aside there. There's a little gasket here. Don't want to lose that. Now we got the hanger, and we should be able to pull it out like so. This can get very messy. There's a cage here, so, and it holds a lot of fuel. You want to be careful. Let's see. Pull it out this way, because there's a hanger on this side, or not a hanger, a float. You don't want to break that, so you'll pivot to the left here. Am I doing this right? Maybe not. Okay, stuck. There we go. I'm sorry, you'll pivot back and the float will be right there. So now I'm just gonna move this over here, make sure it doesn't spill out. This guy is exposed with a lot of fuel. Might want to throw a rag or something over it, that way nothing falls in. But let's go ahead and move to the back here and get this fuel pump out. There she is. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tear this apart and show you guys how to modify it. And I think that the way that I'm doing this is probably the best way to do a return system for these cars. It took a lot of time of thinking about what to do. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how I plan to do this. Alrighty, where do we start? Let's start with taking this bottom piece off. A couple flat heads here. Well, now I got this guy holding me back. The yellow plug. That's my sending unit.
Okay.
There's also this hose here. There it is. So, these two.
Just push it out of that.
Yeah, I mean, so. I don't know how. I want to take this guy apart.
Okay. That's almost like a shifter thing.
Yeah, spring clip there and wiggle this guy out.
Yep.
There we go. This guy we just set aside. Now we work with this guy. Let's get this pump out. This pump.
Is there another side?
Yeah, there's three of them, just like the top. There we go. Once you get one off, it's pretty easy to get the other two off. Releases tension. So now this fuel pump should theoretically come out.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
Nice. It's a very small sock. The fuel sock.
Oh yeah.
I think they cubes like this long.
Oh yeah, they're really long, but easy soft. So the good thing about the pump that I got, it's dw300c, which is like compact. They're pretty small, and a lot of
this?
no, they're probably about this, a little bit bigger than this. But the thing is, I want to say this inner diameter is at like maybe like 39, and it's a 38 millimeter. Okay. The wall bores are 42, and a lot of people have to bore the inside out.
Oh, that's a lot more work.
But the thing is, I don't need a wall bore.
Right.
You know, 450. The 300 works. So just set that aside. Wait for the fuel pump to come in, and then I'll just be able to transfer that over. And, cut this guy off.
Yep.
And then put it back together. Well, I need a. So this guy has C clips on the bottom.
Oh, so if you remove them, then you can
So
pull it
I
apart.
should remove these C clips.
Right. That's scary.
What's that?
It's gonna just. All right. Okay.
C
I thought it's
clip
gonna
there.
fly away.
C clip there.
Got it. Okay.
So now
Everything comes out.
everything comes out here. Ugh, that's dirty.
Mm-hmm.
That's that filter inside. I think they heat shrink this on. Well, I don't need to use it on that side, so I'm just gonna cut it.
Right.
Find a good set of cutting tools.
Nice.
There's my new return. Now I can take this guy. Don't lose these little C-clips. And just
Yep.
see there's a little C-clip that goes there. You'll be able to take this apart. Don't use, like I said, don't lose the C-clips. Now, I have this guy. How did it go? I probably shouldn't have, or should remember where it goes. So, just for reference, the fuel pump should sit right underneath the canister portion, the short version, or short side. And I'm gonna drill a hole somewhere in this area. This is what I'm going with. I have 2 nylon washers, 2 bulkhead nuts. See there? Let me show you guys the nylon washers. I have a -6 barbed wire there, or line, which this will go into a rubber hose, or actually I'm going to use my ptfe AN lines. Go over here, and then that should go to the new fuel pump. And then this is my bulkhead, which is what's going to be running through the head. Right above the A, I'm going to drill a hole there and see where it leads me. I may or may not move it around, but we'll see. I got my handy dandy drill bits here. We're gonna start off small. Start out with a 1/8 inch drill bit. And forget the name of this, but it's pretty much just centers the drill for us there. Make a little indent. And let's start drilling. So that was almost perfect. Yep, almost perfect. So we got to drill this side, and if you go to the other side, it is, let's see if you guys can see this. It is almost right in the middle of that area, which I do plan on boring out as well. So, just get drilling and continue till it's big enough to fit the bulkhead in. Let's get this guy out. We're not using that guy no more. Perfect. Oh, look at that. That is perfect. Oh my goodness. That is perfect. So now the only problem we have is inside there, it doesn't really sit flush. Alrighty, so right now we have the fitting. Where's it at? It'll go in there perfectly. Perfect. But now we have this webbing inside, focus, that we need to get out. So Derek has this Dremel kit, and he's got all these different attachments. We're gonna use one of these discs, which I've already have over here, and we're just gonna kind of work its way around this area. We would use like a skinny, like a smaller disc and start cutting the line out, but we don't have one. So we're gonna use this guy and get it cleaned up. Alrighty, so we got the cage dremeled out. Focus. Right here, focus. Come on. Yeah, well, we got it dremeled out. We got the nylon washer in there. Now we're just gonna put our nut on. I'll get that tightened down and then I'll show you what's going on. Alrighty, so we got the pump or the cage, hanger, whatever you want to call it. We got that all tightened down. Got my nylon thread, my nylon washer, my nut there. Got it nice and tightened down. It's gonna be a little tricky. You're gonna have to hold this side down and tighten this side as well. And then the angle of this fitting, I kind of have it. So if you look at it from the back, it sits like this. And you're gonna wanna point it towards the wire, which is towards the driver's side front. And you're just gonna wanna angle it kind of similar to this guy, but opposite direction. And that should be how it is. So now we can put our AN fitting here. And we're gonna put our barb fitting here. And from here, from this side, goes to the fuel pump. Alrighty, so now we got the barbed fitting in, connected to the AN fitting. The reason why I went with this style is because it sits a lot more flush with the hanger. That way it doesn't stick up too high, and then you can't put your fuel pump cover back on. So I went with this guy. But there it is. Now we need to cut this head off right here. I'm probably going to cut just this area right here and leave a little bit there. That way the fuel pump has something to sit up against. And then should be pretty straightforward. From there, I'm just going to use this as reference, but from there, instead of going here to here, it goes from here through a ptfe hose or ethanol approved submersible hose, and it'll connect here. And then that's pretty much it. And then, like I said before, this OEM feed is going to be your new return. And pretty much, I've already cut this off from this guy before. But if you want, you just remove this guy, plug this guy back in here, and then you can heat it up and it'll squeeze back on there if you don't want it flopping around. And all it does is it just dumps out into the tank. This is the old fuel pressure regulator, which you can probably just remove if you want, because you're going to be using an external fuel pressure regulator. Or you can just leave it there, it doesn't matter. But make sure you get this O-ring out, that way it's just not floating around in your tank. But that's going to be your new return system. Alrighty, so now we're going to be transferring the sock over to the new fuel pump. I already went ahead and got the sock off of the fuel pump, but it's pretty straightforward. There's a little ring on this little area here, which is this ring here. Let's see if it focus. It just goes there. After you take it off, you'll want to flatten flatten the little ears. Come on. See if I can get this in the video. You want to flatten it, that way it'll catch onto the probe again. Sorry for my dry, crusty hands. So here it is, dw300c. I don't know, I think you're supposed to take this plastic thing off, I would assume. You know, don't want plastic in my tank. But I'm gonna go ahead and take it off. There we go. Alrighty, so get this guy off. Get the plastic cover off this guy here. Then you're just gonna simply put this guy on here. And then this O-ring, you're gonna, or washer, lock washer, whatever you want to call it. You'll get it on there and try very hard to push it in, which is very difficult. Let me see if I can find a better way to do this. Let's see. Alrighty, so that was a little bit hard than I expected, a little bit harder than I expected. So, if you can see there, I have the washer installed. I pretty much used one of these flatheads, or pry tools, whatever you want to call it. And I got it right over centered of the, right over centered of it. And then I push down. So now it is on there. Alrighty, now that we have the sock back onto the new pump, we went ahead and put this rubber bushing on, as well as the plastic cap here, which is pretty straightforward. It can only go on one way. It's kind of how it looks. So we'll go ahead, set that aside. I'll leave that in that cage there. Next is the lower portion of the cage itself, or I guess the internals of the cage. So the pump sits here, and we're gonna put a submersible ethanol approved fuel hose. I'll get a part number on that whenever it gets in. But we need to get this out of the way because it'll sit where that pump goes. It goes in there originally, but we're gonna go ahead and cut that off. I went ahead and marked it right there, as you can see. That way we can go ahead, cut it straight down, and then we can put the new fuel hose. So I'll go ahead and get that cut real quick. Alrighty, and just like that, I got this side chopped off here. So now the pump can sit freely away from this tube, and then we can put the new submersible ethanol hose. Let's go ahead and get this guy in here. Now, I don't know, I think there's only one way you can put this. Yeah, there's only one way you can put this. And trying to line it all up is a little difficult. Put this guy on back here. And then get these three guys. Just like that. There's your new pump. Sits in there. And then you'll get your fuel hose. This kind of moves around a lot. I might get some type of like insulation, submersible insulation, or maybe I'll get some of my fuel hose and just stick it in there, kind of keep it from moving around a lot. But essentially that's it. You'll go ahead and get your hose on there, and then you're gonna put this guy in here. Oh, I forgot to mention. So for this guy is just some type of, I don't know what this is. What was this? This went to the fuel pressure regulator. Oh, that was the, what is that? Right in there. Pump into here. Oh, that was the feed. No, that was the return. That's the factory return. We can go ahead and get rid of this hose right here. Move this guy out of the way. Get this guy out of here. Snip. This guy out of the way. Alrighty, guys. We got more toys. Our submersible fuel hose. This is a submersible fuel line hose that is ethanol approved, and it's submersible. So there is the part number right here. It's a Gates 27093. This one is a 5/16, which is what is needed for these Hondas, based off of the fitting that I got here. 5/16, and then the fitting off of the pump itself is a 5/16. So there's that. We also have these special clamps that I like to use. They are called single-eared clamps. So they look like this. They're a one-time use. You slip it over. This one's not the right size. You'll slip it over here. You'll grab their special tool here, and you'll just clamp it, and it will hold very nice and tight. So, for starters, let's get some stuff situated. I'm going to put this guy on here. Which this guy, trying to remember. Goes this way here. Like so. And then you got your C-clips. Got your C-clips to hold this guy back on. Nice. And then this hose right here, we're going to put onto this guy, which I need to heat up and spread. Handy dandy needle nose pliers. Use this guy right here. This guy on here. Now we got to return back on there. Okay, so here's the final product of what I got going on. Got the fitting in, drilled through. You can see here it's barbed all the way to a ethanol approved hose. I got it looped like this because if I made it straight to the filter, the pump, it would have kinked when it comes down. So I got it looped a little bit. But you can see here, got my Disassembling, or however you pronounce it, fuel pump sits in there pretty nicely. No trimming needed. And then the original fuel feed, I have it as a return. So it pumps through here, comes out here, and then when it comes back in, it comes in here and it just dumps into this tube back into the container. But that's pretty straightforward. That's how it looks. The float for like the fuel sending unit, I left it stock just because I want to see how long it can last in ethanol before it goes bad. I've had mixed opinions about how long they last, so I'm just going to go ahead and test it out for you guys, for myself, and see how long it lasts. And once it fails, I'll know how long it takes, and then I'll either repair it, modify it, or I'll just replace it to the 9th gen. I'm still undecided yet, but I'm going to leave it the way it is and see how long it lasts.